It's been very long since I came back to this platform or this channel, but then I'm so excited and I'm so happy to be back here once again to share with you a lot of trending issues that's actually happening in Ghana now. Well, today we actually going to deal with two major issues or two major trending issues that are actually happening in Ghana. But then if this is your first time of coming across this channel, please do us a favor. I'm begging you, subscribe first of all, subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell that whenever we upload new videos, you'll be the first person to always get an alert on your device. The name is Christopher, and let's get into it now. Well, there has been issues concerning teacher Arafat. We've all seen a lot of videos. There's been videos circulating online concerning teacher Arafat. I know most of you have actually heard a lot about him, and some of you have actually chanced upon the video and you're watching. Those of you who like soppy videos, meaning so much mona mope soppy super videos no mako share. And there's been also an issue that there is another video of teacher Arafat also trending on social media or online. Yeah, and I mean him say Mona Mupe Super Rusulu Masa Koshres video nubium. But hey, me no platform we so no yen to me but just video no and I have no access to super video now. Me make sure say we're into question. But it is just very sad to see that some of these things are happening in most of our various institutions in the country so far as cycle schools are actually concerned. But there is one thing that most of you don't know, that most of these things are not just happening in the second cycle institution. It's happening way back even in JHS schools. Well, the sad aspect of some of these things is when you get to some of the most remote communities or smaller communities, some parents actually condone on some of these things because to me do create a class B, then you will see a teacher following or actually dating a younger kid or somebody who actually completed JHS. You would want to find out and you realize that parents are already aware. And you hear parents say, oh, and I say me banu crown or the teacher and the crown dating, oh, and so the teacher and like they fancy some of these things in most of the communities, these smaller communities. Yeah, because or yeah, abanye juma or yeah, government working, it is very appropriate for them to actually chase their words and also chase their kids. So it has been happening for a very long time. Thanks to technology, thanks to mobile phone, the usage of mobile phone. This is how come most of you are actually coming across some of these things. These things are no new things in the system. These are things that have been happening for ages. They've been happening for several decades now. But it is because today there is mobile phone in the system where students are actually sending mobile phones to school where they have chances of actually recording some of these incidents or hiding and also recording. And sometimes it's because some of the students they're also dating some of their colleagues, and it's like it has become a competition between teachers and the students. So sometimes I want to, they actually want to disgrace you, the teacher. So when they find out, they sneak and they record you and they put it out there. But then it is not something which is appropriate for a teacher who you've been mandated to go and teach children. You serve as a protector for that word as well. Then you get to the school premises. Instead of you protecting the kids, you would go and use your paid year, Akosia Kuma. Then you go and actually be having an affair with students in the science lab and also inviting them over to your house to have an affair with them. This is not something that is very good to support a teacher that is actually dealing with this. But there has been issues of scandals in most of some of our universities in the country where and it's been alleged that some lecturers always sleep with this is sex for grade, they sleep with some students and they actually offer them grade. Well, we know in Ghana most of the institutions they always tell you that it is not what you know, but then the system actually will reward you. When I was actually going to school, a lecturer once told me that it's not about how intelligent I am, but then A would actually determine what I would actually take home. So it's been in the system like that. This has been something that a lecturer told me as a male. So imagine if you are a female, there's been issues where some colleagues of ours those days they tell us that a lecturer has actually been inviting them to come and meet them in a hotel, come and meet them in a clubhouse, and this has been some of the wild allegations that some of the female students always bring forth all the time, and some of these students end up rewriting their papers all the time just because per the allegations they've not been able to go and meet the demand of some of the teachers, so they must all go and sit down and do a receipt of some of their papers, which is not something good. Now, GES has actually directed that teacher Arafat step aside so that they continue with a lot of investigation. I've seen a lot of people incarcerating teacher Arafat, but the funny aspect, some of the people who are actually talking about teacher Arafat's own, they have actually done worse than teacher Arafat is actually doing. But well, it's time they must actually deal with him. But when you get to most of the institutions we have in Ghana, the banking sector, the education sector, In all the sectors in Ghana, there has been allegations of some of these things happening in some of these various institutions. But it's because some of these things it is not out. Because recently we've seen how most of these things have actually becoming online globally. It is not only in Ghana, but then especially Africa. And the funny aspect of it is when they go and they are having affairs, they set mobile phones and they start recording themselves. Well, I don't know what they fancy out of these things, putting mobile phones down, recording yourself just because of what? Yeah, now it is out there on the internet and people are viewing it. But then I just want to use this opportunity to tell you teachers out there that, dear colleague teachers, be mindful of whatever you do in the various institutions that you actually teach in. If you know you're somebody who cannot be able to control yourself, it is appropriate for you to always set a boundary. And if you also know you can't control yourself, always make sure you don't invite students to come to your house to do any form of work for you, especially female students. Just try to control yourself, because if you don't do that self-control, or you are not able to control yourself, that 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, or 30 minutes of last will eventually send you to jail. And at the end of the day, you would actually not be able to teach again. Now to come by a job to do is very hard. So imagine you going to school for several years, just a little bit of art of 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, because per what is actually trained, the teacher our first one was just a quickie, and you are able to lose your job. You go to jail and also lose your job. Please be mindful of yourself and take a very good care of yourself, because some of these young ones, you and I, we know that you are not going to marry them. So you telling them that you want to be in a relationship with them, we know baby, you aren't going to marry them. You just want to get into their pants and you leave them. We know some of these kids how they go about dealing with their staffs. We know how some of these kids now, their sports that they even take from, they send you messages, they tell you, they text you love messages and co. But just put at the back of your mind that some of these kids can equally be your children, but then they can equally be your sisters too as well. Will you be able to have affair with some of these people if they are your siblings? Just put that also at the back of your mind. We know how it is. I've been saying that the tablet that they've shared to most of the students in the various secondary schools, there is a lot of things that must actually be done before they share this. Well, there was supposed to be a lot of things supposed to be done on this tablet before they leave it for the children. Well, the parental control, I'm not sure most of these tablets have parental control on them, but we all know that in this modern era, even as a parent who knows a lot about tech, if you actually want to gift your child a mobile phone, or you actually want to allow your kids to be using mobile phones, you would actually have to activate parental control on them, so that it will have prevent them from visiting explicit sites, or sites that are not meant for them, or viewing contents that are actually not meant for them. But the internet is full of things that are not meant for our kids to actually consume. Now, when you go to the internet, Facebook, you go to the TikTok, you go to YouTube, there are a lot of things out there today that are not meant for our kids to consume, all in the name of content creation. There are a lot of negative things that the adults are actually putting out there, shooting, a lot of bedroom activities that are not supposed to be on the internet for our children to consume. And it is not safe for them to go here. Now we've given them tablets in the schools. When you go to some of the schools, these children sneak out, hide in darkness, and they watch adult movies on some of these tablets that they've actually given them, which is actually meant for studies purposes. When they come home, it is even worse when they come home, because they are allowed to bring the tablets home and they no longer even participate in any household chores in the house, but then they always focus on these tablets and they start using at home. So these are some of the things that GES must actually start looking at, because nobody's against you giving them tablets, but then the parental control settings must actually be activated on these tablets, and there must be a tracking system on these tablets where people can actually be monitoring the kind of things our children actually consume on some of these tablets. There's been flamboyant, celebrations in most of the schools in this year. It's been happening for a very long time, but then it has not been common, especially in the big private schools in Ghana. It's been something that is very common. You get to school throwing cash on your kids, gifting them cars. I don't know where the society is actually going to. Nobody's against you celebrating your kids. Nobody's against you buying houses for your children when they are done with WASI. Nobody's against you buying them cars, buying them, mobile phones, expensive gadgets. But must it be done on the school campus? Must it be done in the school premises? It is just not nice. At least monitoring kakra, it's a result in a prayer. No, more but I say like, I don't know. But it's just good that GES has actually brought forth a directive that some of these things must actually be banned in most of the secondary schools in the country, because it is not helping. It's actually putting some sort of pressure on some of the students and some parents too as well, because a collaborating baby, he or she doesn't know how his or her parents are struggling to pay their school fees, but just because they've seen other colleagues of theirs going about, parents coming gifting them some of these things, they may start putting some of this pressure on their parents to do same for them. So it is good that GES has actually brought forth a directive that some of these things be put to a stop or must be halted, so that it doesn't get worse in some of these institutions or in these various schools. Well, this is the first videos from our break, a long break. And if you would find it interesting, kindly leave your thoughts in the comment section. And also, if it's your first time, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification. But I promise that we'll be trying our best to be bringing you a lot of videos henceforth. But then stay tuned to the channel and also subscribe. Do not go anywhere. Thank you for watching.